Good morning, distinguished participants. I recognize all retired heads of service and permanent secretaries on this call this morning. I already see Mrs. Folashade Ogunaike. You're welcome, ma. I can see Mrs. Olushola Oduguwa. You're welcome. Princess Adenike Ajayi. You're welcome, ma. This morning, we are going to be looking at a topic that is very germane, reiterating self-management and personal leadership in retirement. To facilitate this session, we have Mr. Taofik Oladiran Ajetunmobi. I'm sure a lot of us, we know him. I'll do a bit of an introduction of him before we start. I recognize Mr. Samson Ajibade. You are welcome to this call. Mr. Sanut, you are welcome. Mr. Adeniji, you are welcome. Thank you for joining. Oh, Mr. Adeleke Ligali, you are welcome to this call. Our latest retiree in public service office. This morning, the head of service and the permanent secretary public service office will be unavoidably absent. I will be holding forth for the two of them. So our facilitator this morning is Mr. Taofik Oladiran Ajetunmobi, an educator, trainer, facilitator of learning and communication practitioner. Taofik Oladiran Ajetunmobi has over 3 decades of practice experience in education, public administration, public relations and communication. He is until recently, Director, Public Affairs of Lagos State Public Service Staff Development Center, PSSDC, Magodo, having statutorily retired from the service of the Lagos State earlier in 2023. While at PSSDC, he combined public relation practice with instructional design and delivery of learning interventions in communication, leadership, and general management training programs. He is currently managing consultant at Success Right Consultancy Services Limited, Lagos. Mr. Oladiran is happily married with children. On that note, I welcome Mr. Oladiran Ajetunmobi to go ahead with his presentation. Please unmute yourself, sir.
Hello.
Yes, you are audible, sir. Go on.
Thank you very much. Good morning, distinguished senior citizens of the Lagos State Public Service. Permit me to rest on the protocols that have already been laid out by the Director Post Service Department, even as I express happiness and joy on this privilege that has been given to me to share or to learn, indeed, to learn from very senior retirees and also to share some of the things that I have been looking at for so many years, even prior my own retirement. I have chosen this topic, reiterating self-management and personal leadership in retirement, if you like, as an escapist topic, because when this privilege was shared, the question I asked myself was, what would I be talking about? I cannot talk about finance. I am not an accountant. I cannot talk about health. I am not a medical. I'm not even a paramedical practitioner. I am a generalist in communication, but I do know that even beyond all of this, for the entire life of people, the concept of self continues to reverberate, and the concept of personal leadership also continues to reverberate. Even as we age, self continues to be an important part of us. Self becomes part of the guiding principles, and the way we manage ourselves determines the kind of personal leadership that we could have. Whether it is in retirement or even at any point in life, these two concepts are essential to our well-being beyond our wellness. And so today, as I always said in this kind of exercise, is that we are just here to learn, perhaps to pick some learning, hopefully, as well as to consolidate on some of the things that we had known even before now. And so for me, it's about unlearning, it's about learning, and it is about relearning. But professionally, it is important that we set our outcomes. And I have chosen these three that I believe should be critical in this session of about 40 minutes, that we will reappraise retirement as a paradigm shift. And of course, all of us on this platform, on this call this morning, will know of a certainty that a paradigm shift took place in our various lives. There are various mindsets that we would have during retirement. Sorry, there is a D that has decided to run away there. As well as apply self-management and personal leadership nuggets to refire our retirement living. These are the objectives that I have set for this session, and that will engage our attention for the next 40 minutes or thereabout. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by saying that all of us on this call have one thing in common. Everybody. Yes, I recognize people who have been, in quote, in this practice, in retirement practice, for so many years, some for over 10 years, some even for more than that. Of course, some just coming in, and then some of us are somewhere in the middle. But the reality is that we are all retirees. Retirement is about change. And change happens whether we like it or not. Change must happen. The day we joined the service of government, of course, we knew that by age 60, or by having put in 35 years of service, if we did not leave earlier on, we must leave. So it is a change, or it is change that is predetermined. Everybody here knows that of a fact. But defining it, we say it is the act of process or result of altering, that is change now, modifying or transiting from one state or condition to another. When we speak about retirement, as we all know already, it involves separation of an individual from a job role, a role performed for pay, an acquisition of the role of the retired person. That's by Archie as defined. Retirement, as we know, therefore alters so many things, therefore it modifies lifestyles, and it's a transition from the world of regular paid employment to another new phase of life, which could be exciting or, unfortunately, harrowing, depending on a number of factors, some of which may not be even in the hands of the one that is retiring. But what we say every time, and particularly for those of us who had the privilege on the day of our retirement to have the full complement of the post-service office to speak to us, there are quite a lot of things that are grouped into self-management, that are grouped into personal leadership, that team always shared at every point, that it has to go to see people off a role they have performed for well over 2 decades, as the case may be, or 3 decades, as the case may be. So, we have had a lot of conceptualizations about retirement. The one we grew up to meet, because I always say everywhere, although things are different now, my late dad retired and he didn't do anything thereafter until he passed on some 10, 15 years after. Retirement is a time to relax, to rest, and to reflect on the things that we've done with our careers and families, and now it has shaped who we have become today. That's the thinking about retirement. A lot of people feel it's a time to rest. A lot of people feel it's a time to relax. And a lot of people feel it's a time for reflection on the things we have done. But a lot of people say that when you think you are at the end of something, you are at the beginning of another. That's another thinking about the concept of retirement by Fred Rogers. And Fosdick, in his own opinion, says that don't simply retire from something, have something to retire to. These two opinions about retirement, the last two, which forms one, in my own opinion, is what we have today. The middle one stands with the two. Because something ends, another thing begins. When we retire from something, of course, we must retire to something. And we cannot just retire and go home to sit and sleep, particularly in the kind of economic uncertainties that we have, not just in Nigeria, but globally across the world. Ladies and gentlemen, senior citizens of the Lagos State Public Service, when we retire, there are certain mindsets that come, and in the various groups that each one of us belong or could belong, we have a mindset that says, whatever I am doing now, I am going to continue. So there are continuous people who just transit from public service offices into doing the same thing they were doing before when they were in the service, and continuing to make it happen. Professionals who have established some kind of practice will belong into this group. We also have the mindset of the adventurers, people moving to totally new things. Even if they have the ideas of what they could continue, they still want to do adventure. They want to go see what the other areas look like and what are the business opportunities that we could have. Of course, people who are lawyers going into agri, going into education, and so on and so forth, which can be mixed, we belong to this group. Adventurers are those ones who do not stay. They see here, they move there, and they like to do quite a lot of things to keep themselves busy. We have searchers. There are people who, in spite of the time that we have had, they did not put anything in their minds to do. And as they retire, they now begin to see what are those things that are available. And they begin to search, to look here, to look there, and a host of others. There are involved spectators. Yes, they had left the stage, but they are still involved in what is happening. Organizations, associations, for example, like Alausa, for example, the body, respected body of former heads of service and permanent secretaries. Yes, they are involved, still involved in public service, and it is a part of what they still continue to do, sharing their experience as part of the think tank of government. We have the easy gliders. I have made enough money as a worker. Now I just want to keep spending my money, and I do not really want to do anything, as it were. It is also a choice, but of course we do know that easy gliders will at a point in time move back into looking at some things. There are also those we refer to as retreaters. This is the negative side of it. And part of the things we talk about in self-management, in personal leadership, is that in spite of how we think we have retired, it is not correct approach, and it is not the right attitude that we retreat. When we retreat, before we know what is happening, economy will eat up whatever we have, even if we have so much money. But these are a variety of mindsets that we have concerning retirement. A variety of mindsets that lead us now into talking about what are those things that we must look at. The self is important. Whatever mindset we have, whatever changes that have taken place, a major component to focus on is the self, as well as its management, as well as personal leadership. And these are the things in the next couple of slides that will take our attention. These are definitions of what that concept is: a person's essential being, one that distinguishes them from others. It is a description of our sense of identity, of our own unique characteristics, which includes our thoughts, our feelings, our belief systems, and our experiences. That's generally looking at that concept of self. But in personality psychology, the self can be described as the whole individual. Characteristics, attributes, mentality, consciousness, physical self, character, and emotional life. Indeed, the concept of self from the psychological point of view is to look at the entire individual, both in the physical, in the mental, in the emotional, and in the spiritual aspect of life, all of which continue to count throughout the entire life of each and every one of us, and which, whether we are in retirement or not, must continue to take our attention and must continue to focus on. Just reminding us about a certain psychologist who looked at the concept of retirement also, or whose theory we can apply to the concept of retirement. We have various levels of needs, all of them accompanying the concept of self. Is a series of stages that lead to self-actualization. The hierarchy of needs theory by Abraham Maslow looks at the variety of stages. Physiological needs belong to stage 1. And according to him, as it keeps moving on, one must be satisfied before the other level becomes active. That is why when we satisfy the body's physical need, or when the body's physical needs are the ones that are active, we do not think of any other except that we satisfy that. That perhaps is one of the reasons that Yoruba people say, physiological needs are part of stage 1. The need to be fed, the need to run away from hunger, basic physiological needs. We move on to safety needs, of course, safety and security, but particularly financial safety through employment, even after employment, through some other forms of employment. The man argued that social connection or love needs becomes important next. A desire for love, friendship, intimacy, and so on and so forth. The need for self-esteem, which is at the core of everything about the self, is about confidence, achievement, recognition, and getting respect from others. And then moving on to actualizing and fulfilling one's potential, which he described as a self-actualization. Although this theory has been criticized because people can change and it does not have to follow and follow and follow, but it has provided, even for management, even for retirement studies, and indeed for every facet of life, it has provided some kind of arrangement for us so that we are able to move. We must therefore manage self. Self-management, as described, is the ability to manage our behavior, our thoughts, our emotions, consciously and productively. It is an understanding of our responsibility in the different aspects of our lives and to know what are those things that are needed for us to fulfill that responsibility. And so the concept of self-management, if you will take it that route, is akin to the new concept that we refer to as emotional intelligence, particularly the first part of emotional intelligence, which speaks about self-awareness. We must be aware of ourselves so that we are able to stay focused and motivated even in challenging situations. This quote is by an unknown author, but it serves me to talk about the concept of self-management. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, when we look at self-management, we are looking at two major things, and the two of them run throughout life. The two of them run throughout living. One is described as self-care. Self-care is that thoughtful practice of protecting and improving our physical and mental health within a balanced lifestyle. Physical health, mental health, and if I can add our emotional health also into this. It is also about personal leadership, the continuous development of and utilization of our traits to guide the direction, the path of our life, instead of letting time and chance determine the course. So the entire gamut of self-management is about caring for oneself. It's about loving oneself, if you like. It's about preparing oneself for whatever eventuality that may come. And in the last couple of months, there have been quite a lot of that has even changed the paradigm for everyone who might even feel that we were a bit comfortable some months ago. It is not the same thing to have a liter of fuel at 160 and having it at 600. It's a whole lot chunk of funds that have been reduced from the funding pattern of the one that is a retiree. Even if he is into business, he has to pay so much more to make life to happen. Self-management, the capacity to control oneself, the capacity to take care of oneself will come right here into play. One's capacity to prioritize a certain aspect of one's life. Care, self-management, as self-care, has 4 distinct dimensions. The physical, yes, take care of one's body. All of these are things that we are reiterating, and that is really the point of what we are doing here. We are not saying anything that is new. These are things we have had before, but the truth about it is that there must always be opportunities for us to review and remind ourselves about all of these things that we know, so that we continue to adjust and adapt as the case may be. Taking care of one's health, exercising within good limits. I am not competent to give a regime of exercise, but one that I know that cannot fail anytime is taking a walk. And so if you ask me, I would just say, take a walk. Eating well, I am not a nutritionist, but of course we know they say eat balanced diet, eat fruits, eat greens, take a lot of water, and a host of all of that. Having enough sleep, of course, is also critical. People have identified, professionals have identified sleep as one of the tools of wellness. Okay, emotional dimension, acknowledging and coping with one's feelings and emotions, such as expressing oneself, seeking support, practicing gratitude, and a host of other things that come under the emotional dimension. But what is critical under the emotional dimension is to recognize when we are moving into emotions that are negative or that can be counterproductive. And then we can address ourselves and say, maybe it is this season, it will also pass. And these are quite a lot of things that we need to do when we are faced with all of these. The mental dimension must continue to stimulate and challenge our minds. We can learn new things. We can read. Yes, we can solve puzzles and do quite a lot of things. Just keep ourselves mentally alert and active. And of course, there is a social dimension of it, nurturing relationships and connections, spending time with friends, spending time with family, working for community, communicating with people, and all of these are wrapped up into the ultimate one, which I like personally to talk about as the spiritual dimension. Everything is wrapped up within the spiritual dimension, and the guidance of God will always continue to be more supreme over every other one. In the realm of personal leadership, we must look at self-awareness. We've spoken about that. Understand our values, understand our strengths, understand our weaknesses. Of course, our motivation is always the foundation for effective personal leadership. Vision and goal setting, clear vision. We must know where we are going. We must know what we are doing. Yes, we have chosen paths before. Let us make it even more crystal clear so that we have a long-term direction. Self-discipline, the ability to stick to plans, continue to be things that we must talk about always. Managing distractions, following through on commitments. All of these are essential for achieving goals, and they are elements of personal leadership. Being proactive, taking the initiative, becoming solution-oriented and anticipatory is also a part of it. Resilience, particularly because challenges and setbacks are inevitable. And those who are personal leaders, we always bounce back from difficulties as well as learn from them. Ladies and gentlemen, our entire life is about learning. Our world is constantly changing. Personal leaders are those who commit to continuous learning and growth. Taking it away from these two dimensions, the dimension of care, the dimension of leadership, we say that these two are critical skills because they provide for us focus, they provide for us guidance, and they help us to align in the way that we develop, even as we age. They are things that are within us, both self-management and personal leadership, but their effects are not felt by us alone, not by a family alone. It affects every others in our community, particularly in these stressful times. They have never been more critical. They must help us to refocus. They must help us to care for ourselves. Both of them are intentional acts of doing quite a lot of things. Eating well, getting enough sleep, exercising regularly, maintaining a strong social network, tending to our spiritual needs, as well as looking after most things, whatever means we are able to muster, and so much more. We must think of this self-management and personal leadership as a gentle art of loving oneself. And a person is the greatest lover of himself or herself. So as we begin to draw to a close, we are reiterating self-management and leadership. One thing that is critical is that we must stay vital and valuable. Staying vital and valuable is critical. We cannot afford to be morbid, but the reality is important to recognize as we age. The realities of aging is that family and friends move away. Even our children will go, because for some of us, they have already gone. For some of us, they are still preparing. They move away. Some may die. Close associates drop. In the last 2-3 weeks, about 3 of my young age bodies just passed on. And of course, these are realities of time. As loved ones move through life stages, of course, we may not be as much of a priority. Our children today are struggling to make their own families and to have their families intact. Of course, we are priority, but we may not be as much of a priority, as it were, so that we must also ourselves stay vital and valuable. Yes, as we age, we may become less competent, mentally, physically, we may forget. We may not be as strong as we used to be. And indeed, it is obvious as we age, we keep changing. Our abilities will change, the experiences that we have. Yes, because the way we are able to move, we may no longer be able to move. But beyond staying vital and valuable, it is also important that we must not be isolated. Because according to some research work, retirement can increase the risk of depression. Social isolation is a real concern and can bring about or enliven our worst character flaw. So as much as possible, we must keep our connections, find ways to connect. Yes, we must connect. We must be vigilant about making new friends, yet we must make them, adding new life to existing connections, and not forget to make friends with and embrace the evolving us. I will make friends and embrace the evolving me, because that is the best friendship that anyone can bring about. If a person has self-love, it is the topmost aspect of self-management. It is the topmost aspect of personal leadership. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, senior citizens of the Lagos State Public Service, adapt and take care of the body. Physical health is essential. Exercise physically within limits. Watch the weight. Well, I am not competent again to prescribe any particular weight, but we must watch the weight so that we don't go obese at this time. For example, with exercises, we must choose those we are comfortable with. We can also get creative. Yes, some people, they like do yoga. And for me, it is walking anyway. At any point in time, walking cannot be wrong. There can be new expresses to be enjoyed, and they help us to get the heart rate going. Adapt again and seize opportunities. Never must adapt, seize, and never stop learning, because we still continue to grow. What worked for us while we were working may no longer work. That's correct, because a lot of things are changing even as we age. Of course, we must continue to get curious, know things that are happening, seek feedback, and learn. We read, we must continue reading. That is the word that we were even before now. Attend seminars that are practical and practicable, and of course, put whatever we learn to practice. And we must adapt. Well, travel to new places and distant places if that is a part of your hobby, and if you have any capacity to run in that area. Volunteer in areas that are important to you and in places where you can contribute. Make new friends, expand comfort zone. Ladies and gentlemen, we are reiterating as we close now, self-management and personal leadership. Even as we say that along this life journey, we must be sure to appreciate this stage of life, because our retirement is a new stage of life, and it's a new stage that has other aspects to it that we can enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, please be reminded that it is easy to get up, to get caught, yes, in the daily grind, even now. Those of us who have children in school are still paying bills, keeping up with the house, managing it. All of this can bring about stress and overwhelm us even as we have left. So we must pay attention to that. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, the biggest lesson for us during this year that are golden in their own right is that we must take time to embrace what is important to us. We must appreciate the gifts in our lives. And of course, we must invite joy. I thank you very much for your kind attention. And we move back to the moderator, Mrs.
Thank you very much, sir. That was a well-packaged presentation, very insightful. Thank you very much, sir. As I was saying, there is nothing we can do about getting old. We will all definitely get old, but we can age gracefully if we take care of ourselves. You know, and everything is about mindset. In retirement, he mentioned that there are different types of retirees. He said we have continuers, we have adventurers, searchers, we have involved spectators, we have easy gliders, and retreaters. He did mention that we should not be retreaters. He said for retreaters that the economy will stop what they have. And I am also saying that apart from that, anyone who retreats eventually becomes socially isolated. They become lonely and sickly. So I want to encourage us. We should not even be a retreater at all. Let us find something to do. He spoke at length about self-management, and he mentioned different areas we need to look at. Physically, we need to take care of our bodies, eat well, exercise. Like he said, he's not a doctor. He cannot recommend, but walking, you can't go wrong with walking. And then you cannot go wrong with eating vegetables, eating fruits. Then our emotions, let's take care of our emotions. We need to acknowledge our emotions and then have the ability to cope. Let's express ourselves. Don't let us, at this time, don't let us bottle up anything. Express yourself, seek help, seek support. The Lagos state government is magnanimous to have wellness centers around the state. We have 16 that is operational. Let's locate one that is close to us. Let's go there once a while. You know, interact with people. There are times you just need somebody to talk to. Don't isolate yourself. And that will help you emotionally. He also spoke about taking care of ourselves mentally. He said we should challenge ourselves. We should keep on learning. And then it talks about the social aspect of it. He said we should nurture relationships and connection. We should seek to be around people at all times. It's very important. Then, in his conclusion, he said we should stay vital, we should stay valuable, we should not isolate ourselves. We should adapt, take care of our body. He said we should seize opportunities and never stop learning. Thank you very much, Mr. Ajetunmobi, once again. I'm sure we have comments, we have questions. This is the time for question and answer, the time we can comment. So if you have anything to say, kindly signify, and then I will unmute you, and then you can ask your question or make your comment. So let's keep it coming now. It's question and answer time. Princess is saying here, me, I'm not tired though. I've just moved on to new ventures and adventure new. Thank you very much for your feedback, ma. Questions, comments? Okay, I think let me call a few of my ogas to make contribution. Okay, let's hear Princess Adenike Adedoyin Ajayi to make a comment. Okay, I think Mrs. Adesoye is here. Please unmute, ma. Unmute, ma. Please unmute, ma.
Okay.
All right, thank you, ma.
Good
Good to
morning.
have you, ma. It's been a while.
Yes, so I know it's really a sacrifice for me to join at this time.
Thank you very much.
Yes, we just want to appreciate you and the head of service and the permanent secretary, the public service office. Thank you so much. I want to say good morning to the house, to everyone.
Good morning, ma.
It's been a long time. I also want to appreciate the facilitator. It's a well packaged seminar. It's something that we really need at this time. But I will only add 2 points. One is that we should not forget to go for regular medical checkups.
Mm.
Medical checkup is very, very, very important for us at this stage. And the other one is that we should look out for one another. If you know anybody that is going through a tough time, somebody that is sick, somebody that is the last group of retirees, please inform the public service office. I know this is a tough time. Nigeria is going through a tough time, but I believe that days of abundance are coming. It will change positively. God will always make a way for us.
Amen.
So good morning, everyone. We thank you. We enjoy ourselves, and God will grant us good health even at this age. In Jesus' name. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much, ma. So let me call Mrs. Ogunaike to make her comment. Mrs. Ogunaike, ma.
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
and
ma.
Thank you for this package. Thank you, Mr. Ajetunmobi. I didn't even know that you have joined us, that you're a retiree already.
He has joined.
Thank you, Mrs. Adesoye. You spoke my mind. And I just want to add that at this stage in our lives, a lot of us feel that it is a shameful thing to cry out if we are in need. It's not shameful at all, because if you are going through something and you don't speak out, you won't know how many people have the same problem within their shoes or their apparels. Gbogbo wa là ń dagbádá bolẹ̀ là ń wọ kábà. Inú kan náà ló ń run gbogbo wa o, whether great or small. It's just the extent, how deep or how wide, that is different. I was surprised in my estate that our chairman reached out to us that we should please donate food items to people. And I said, in this estate, do you mean there are people that have challenges to even feed? He said, madam, you don't know, I'm the president. I know, I see. So it is our empathy should grow stronger and wider, and we must do things purposefully. We must make it mandatorily our business to look out for one another. Some of us know some of us that are in need or are facing challenges. Don't let us close our eyes and say it's none of my business. You don't know for what purpose the Lord has preserved your life up to this day. So make the most use of it. And all the other things that have been said by Mrs. Adesoye, I'm in support. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, ma. And then Mrs. Sholari.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, ma.
Yes, I'm happy to be here too. I said good morning to the house, the former head of service, ma. Ms. Adesoye, good morning, ma. My colleagues in the body, retired farmsects, and everyone. Yes, I also want to quickly add this. First, what our former head of service said about regular medical checkup. It is very important. I think we should tie it with our birthdays. That is the best way to do it so that we don't forget. I hope that is noted. Secondly, there is something we call zona or something like group in Alausa, that is those of us in particular areas should always come together to say hello to one another. Recently, I just called one of my friends. I said, àwa tá a wà lérí Ìkòròdú yìí, kí ló dé tá a máa ríra wa regularly, just come together, laugh, recall old days and all that, it will cheer people up. A lot of people are suffering from depression, and that is the truth. And just like Mrs. Ogunage said, a whole lot of things are happening. But when we come together, ká pàdé bóyá ní eatery or ní ilé one of us, let's cheer one another up, let's smile, let's laugh, things will be better. And I want to acknowledge the facilitator. He has done a wonderful job. I support particularly for exercise, walking. I can call myself Johnny Walker. I love to walk. So please, walking, even if it is within the compound, walk, just do a little bit of walking and you will sweat. And I think that will help a long way. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, ma. Okay, I think that's Mr. Ligali there. Please unmute. Adeleke's iPad. I think that's Mr. Ligali. You can unmute, please, and make your comment or ask your question. Are you there, Mr. Adeleke Ligali? Okay. Okay. Can we have Princess Adeleke Ajayi? I just want to hear your voice. Let's hear your comment. Let's hear your take on this.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, my ogas, my aunties and uncles, Taz and Maz. Good morning, Mrs. D, for always
Good morning, ma.
calling us together to come and have all of these fruitful deliberations and value-adding, conversations. I can assure you this is one of the things that's also keeping us going, being able to come round virtually, if we cannot make it physically, to have, value-adding conversations that will enhance the quality of our lives in retirement, and also, to let us be aware of the trends and happenings in these days and time. because sometimes, you know, we are playing catch up with things that are going on because of the generational gap that we have. But it's very important that, you know, we stay abreast, because that's the way we can connect with our children. If we are not abreast and in tune with the trends, we cannot connect with our children. And our children, you know, grandchildren, and all of them are an integral part of our lives by the time we are retired and we're getting on in age. They also keep us going. Being in connection and staying connected with them is very important for our well-being as well. It's something that, you know, we helps us to have something to look forward to also, you know, be proud about, to see them doing well, to be able to relate with them. So it's very important that we also stay connected with the trends. I know that sometimes when I'm talking to my son and, you know, I'm saying something like they play, something, so you say, mommy, you are on point. So you know all of these things that's going on. Don't worry, me too, I do. Do you understand? So those are some of the things. We shouldn't say that we're too old. We shouldn't say that, you know, we need to be in their world. We need to be in that space. And believe you me, personally, it keeps me youthful and vibrant. Being able to, you know, I dance a lot. I'm sure a lot of people know that I dance a lot. And catching up with all of the new dance steps and everything like that, you know, it's good soul for the mind. I mean, it's good for the mind and body and soul. And when you are able to be youthful, even in your mindset, yes, you know, there's a saying that willing is the mind, ancient is the body. But when the mind is willing and it's going, it would also keep the body going. So that would be my take, you know. The way we deal with life will determine how we enjoy it. So let's embrace life. Let's embrace whatever is happening and choose the ones that, you know, we can roll with, the ones that will benefit us, the ones that will keep us happy, vibrant, and, you know, connected with everything around us. Thank you. You've heard my voice.
Thank you very much. Yes, so we cannot afford to do without this valuable contribution. God bless you, ma. So
So sorry.
let's hear from Mr. Ajibade.
Okay.
Sir.
Good afternoon, ma. Good afternoon to my superior
Okay, Mr. Ajibade. Let's see
I
your
just
face.
want, am I audible?
You are audible,
Am I
but we are not
audible?
seeing you. Very audible. You are audible. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I must thank the facilitator. He did a great job. Thank you so much, Mr. Ajetunmobi. He's always on point anyway. I just want to pick on a few things. I'll start with nutrition. Most of us, we eat whatever we like. In my little research, I discovered that we must be guided in whatever we take. And that suggests that we need to look for at least a nutritionist who could guide us so that we can live healthily. Then in terms of exercise, it is not for us to just hit the road. We should also be guided. There are professionals in this wise, so that when we are sure of the state of our health, we should also be able to know the kind of exercise that is suitable to us, so that we don't just exercise for its sake. Then we should not put too much concentration on making money. That is killing so many people. That is leading so many people into things that are not supposed to happen. And finally, well, I always say this, people tend to disagree much with me, but I hold on to it that our attention should be more on ourselves. Minimum of 60 to 70%. What we eat, how we exercise, how we relate, what we get from it, how we rest, and so on and so forth. So I must thank the other host for the wonderful jobs I've been doing. I must thank Mrs. Drew Dollar and our presenter today, as well as my superior officers there. Thank you. God bless you also.
Thank you very much. God bless you, Mr. Ligali. Can we have Mr. Ajibade? And then we wrap up. Let's wrap up with Mr. Ajibade. Is it there? Please unmute, sir. Is Mr. Ajibade there? I don't think he's there. Okay, can we have Mrs. Odeneye? Mrs. Odeneye. Mrs. Odeneye, please. Please unmute. Let's hear your feedback and then appreciate the facilitator on our behalf.
Praise the Lord. I'm just so happy to contribute. You can see me, I'm in the farm now, doing my new
Wow.
thing. When I saw can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible, ma.
Can you hear me? Okay. Good morning, the
Good morning, ma.
facilitator, the office of the head of service, Mrs. Drodela, all the former head of service. I greet all my senior colleagues and co-colleagues. God bless you. It was a wonderful time on this program. All the reminders, beautiful contributions. Well done, Mr. Ajet. We appreciate you for all that you're able to tell us. And just like my sister said, we're moving from one new adventure to another. That's what I'm seeing in what I'm doing right now. I'm so energized to do much more and plow back to the system that has done so much for us. So I want to appreciate you, our speaker, for always giving it out to us. This is not the first time you talk to us. We really appreciate the training that Lagos State has invested in you, how you are putting it to further use and still helping us. All of us will continue to remain relevant, strong, healthy, and fine. I also appreciate the point of, getting to meet one another, having fun, laughing, and all. It really keeps us young. This morning, I'm still in my outfit. I've walked around. I'm now in the garden attending to pomegranates and mulberry and all that, and eating from the farm. So that's really one way to really keep young and be happy and to be involved. So I pray that all of us will be strong, healthy, and the Lord will continue to perfect all that concerns us in Jesus' name. Thank you. God bless you all. Nice to hear you.
Thank you very much. I think she has brought in the practical aspect of it. She's in her farm, so she's not idle. She's
Abir,
busy, and
I hope you can see me.
she's
I'm
eating
showing off,
from her
innit?
farm. Fresh things.
See my Ewedu corner. This is my Ewedu
Wow.
corner, my Ewe Abamoda.
Right?
Yeah. And this is mulberry. Can you see the mulberry? They're
Wow.
growing. So once they are red like that, they are ready to
And
eat.
take a cue from this.
Yes. And this is pomegranate. It's growing, it's fruiting. So the leaves are also very good for tea.
Wow.
This is apple and this is lemon. So the leaves, they're just very, very good for tea. You can see lemon. This is lemon. Then you have your neem tree. You have bitter leaf, veggies. My Ewe moi moi, now that we have banned,
Thank you so
food. So
much,
don't eat plastic, too much PET bottles. They were between the goals as they are connected original, so I'll send it to the. So thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you very much, ma. God bless you, ma. So we have come to the end of the webinar for today. I want to thank each and every one of us for joining. Let's make it a point of duty to practice all that we have had today. And I pray that we all keep aging gracefully. Let me use this opportunity to thank Mr. Governor and his deputy for always approving the fund to host this webinar, the head of service, and then the permanent secretary for their advices and support all the time, making sure that we host this webinar. We can all unmute, put on our cameras, let's see each other's faces, let's say hello to one another, So it's time for us to socialize and interact. Let's do that for another 5 minutes.
Good morning, Mrs. D. Thank you, Mr. Ajetunmobi, and good morning to the whole house.
Toka, good to see you.
Members of absent
Good morning.
So much.
Good morning.
It's
Ah,
good to be here.
our newborn baby, Mr. Ligali.
Mr. Ligali,
Mrs. T is
welcome to the club.
Yes, youngest, welcome.
the latest baby. Mrs. T, I was there. You did not
Thank you
unmute me. Yes.
So, mo ti change setting o. Mo ti change setting guy.
Mama Africa. Elema.
So that I gadget yìí ni o.
I judge, well done. I learned today is the PSPSO's birthday.
Yes, today is our birthday.
Can we appreciate her by just
Wow.
singing the happy birthday for her?
Okay.
Yes, so.
Mr. Judge, well
That's
done.
nice.
That's a beautiful
Happy
one.
birthday.
Morning, sir.
Okay,
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday
to you.
Parabéns a você. That's the
good Lord bless you.
May the good Lord bless you.
May the good Lord bless you. May the good Lord
Bless you.
We wish you many happy returns of the day, long life and prosperity. Give to the PS, pray.
Longer life and prosperity.
Mama Africa.
Baba Africa. Baba Africa.
Ọjọ́ ti pẹ́ máa ṣe wà nọ́mà.
Another climb la wá wà o. Orí bẹ́ẹ̀dì la yìí wá o.
Ẹ ṣe máa àdúgbò ẹ bá kí ládìí o.
Wá gbọ́. Bíbí Ọdẹ́nẹ́yẹ sẹ́yìn ewédú to also online.
Mr. Sholaru. Somebody is meeting Mr. Sholaru.
Fresh ewédú.
Fresh ewédú.
Carry your veggies come to my farm.
My yale before.
Ìyàwó Àwórì.
God bless you.
Bye, everyone.
Mrs. Shola, ẹkújọ́ mẹ́ta o.
Ìyá Belinda.
God bless you.
God bless everybody o. Bye o.
Bye ma. Mommy Adestoye, bye.
Bye.
Ẹ bá ń káwọn bèjì o.
Wọ́n gbọ́ ẹ ṣe.
Linda, carry your veggies come my farm.
Bí o, ẹ̀yin náà ní veggies, you are a farmer now.
I want to be a exercise on that area.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Ọjọ́ kan pẹ̀lú Mr. Oshori.
Mr. Osho, Abufa lẹ́yìn náà wà.
Olúrẹ̀mí, you are not a retiree.
You are not retired.
Mr. Olúrẹ̀mí.
I'm learning now.
You are learning. You are not on the verge of retirement, kẹ́. Ta ló wà lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ yẹn? Kí ló ń kó bàbá o? How you doing? Ṣẹ́yìn náà ti ń rìtáyà ni.
Wọ́n ti ń prepare.
It is well. You are welcome. Mr. Adeleke, nice to see that you have retired.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, my transformation director.
Yes, thank you. God bless you.
God bless you. Welcome to the Happy Club.
Where is Mrs. Kilanko?
Thank you, ma.
Please ensure she attend the next
The next session.
program.
Okay, well, Mrs. Drodola, God bless you.
And you too, ma. Thank
Mrs.
you.
Deodala, thank you so much.
Oh,
Bàbá Kapo fúnra rẹ̀. Ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́ sà.
Bàbá ọkọ
Àwa
mi.
transfer kìíní sọ́dọ̀ mi o.
Títí gbé o.
Okay o. Mo máa transfer sí yín báyìí. E-transfer.
No, mo ní CBN mo fẹ́ gbìn.
Mo ti bá yín tọ́jú King of Bitters látijọ́ yìí. Ẹ ní ìdẹ. King of Bitters.
Okay. Àmì ìmáìdò.
All right.
Mo fẹ́ pín sí fáàmù mi kí n gbé gbogbo wọn síbẹ̀.
They are good. Wọ́n dẹ̀ máa ń word of pest.
Màá pè yín, àmọ́ bí ṣe máa gẹ́ẹ̀tì.
Okay. All right.
Ilé gẹ́ẹ̀tì wọn, ẹ̀mí náà lọ gbìn.
Okay then. Take care. God bless. Bye everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, bye. I'm bringing the meeting to a close until another 2 weeks.
Bye-bye.
When we'll be talking about our health. Thank you all. Our newborn baby. See you.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.